you had, I think it was $1,000 price thesis. Was it based on the Swift model starting to shift, the growth of the XRP ledger, or potentially the growth of stablecoin, or kind of a combination of all?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, and a lot of people asked for the sort of more detailed explanation, which I'm currently working on sort of putting out. But I think for the purpose of this, at a high level at least, it's a combination of all of them. Obviously, Swift is a big component, but then a lot of it is actually driven by the use cases that we're actually seeing on the ground, in person, in real life. All of these incredible projects that are coming out and actually utilizing the XRP ledger in different ways. Obviously, DeFi and finance are a huge use case, but then also, like I was talking about before, billions and billions are transferred internationally from people in the US to people abroad, both in terms of business, remittances, but then also in terms of charity, and all sorts of use cases. And ultimately, when those applications really start to get used on an institutional level, that's really where you start to see not only more activity on the XRP ledger, obviously a huge, multiple times explosion, but also you start to see people focused more in terms of just retail, looking at the tech underlying it. That's why companies like Nvidia, for example, have seen 1,000-fold increases in the price, is because retail start to come and they start to see, AI is really taking off now. What's the best way I can actually invest in that? It's through the products that Nvidia makes. And so ultimately, I think that's going to be a really interesting part of the whole story, is when those sort of 93% of people, obviously less accounting people who don't have access to the internet, etc. But that huge proportion of people who don't currently own crypto come into the space and figure out that XRP exists.
So and you've got the
pressure upwards on the price.
Exactly. You got the obviously the ETFs, but I think also the professional money managers will start to see it.
Exactly.
Digital assets in general, and it
and
changes
it'll really benefit.
Outlook.
Yeah, it'll really benefit, the top 10, I think, and obviously the top 5, we'll see the biggest increases, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, etc. But then also, the fund managers don't often like to delve really far down, and take more speculative bets. So the ones with the most volume, the tokens, that look the most attractive to them, will be naturally the ones on the top of that coin market cap list, so to speak.